Hey guys, this is Dokji, D-O-K-J-I, as an NWOS-R4, and I wanted to tell you guys about a pre-KvK1 and going into KvK1 guide for commanders you should be using. Now, until Season 3, this list doesn't change that much, especially before museum buffs, where some of these commanders become much better. It's really just the introduction of commanders that you should start using, but nonetheless, this is primarily for KvK1. So, which commanders should you be using? Which commanders should you be investing in? And that's really what I'm trying to answer here. As well, you can see here we have a ton of Gatherers, and we have these guys. The Gatherers are in their own tier because there's really no way to say which Gatherers you should use. Joan of Arc is a simp because she has great support ability, but these Gatherers are just their own thing. And there's no way I could fairly rank a Gatherer for open field KvK combat. So, let's talk about these. These three, I just don't know. I can't get these two, and I'm free to play, and I've never seen Hannibal Barca. You can get them very well, but I've seen Minamoto, I've played against Minamoto, I've never played against Barca. Getting out the way, let's start the list. Sun Tzu, and I'm actually going to bring you over to Rise of Kingdoms for a second. This is my Rise of Kingdoms, and here is my Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is the best epic commander, just straight up. There's only one that compares, and it's Joan of Arc, but you just use Sun Tzu. You can see I have him expertise here, because he is just purely the best commander. Very simply, this fan of war hits 5 people, it's a rage engine. Whoever he's paired with, they're doing great, especially with this 4th skill, increased skill damage. So this makes it so your skills do damage, and they're repeating. This is why Charles Martel is so good with Sun Tzu, because Charles Martel cannot gain rage like that. He has no rage options like that. As well, of course, Philosophy of War is fine, but Master Strategist is really what makes Sun Tzu great. Damage reduction and infantry health. Health is a premium stat. Damage taken reduced, I think, is better than defense increase or attack increase. So I think you should definitely be using these. There's really no reason that you should not be getting Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is probably, in my opinion, the easiest S tier GOAT that you can have. Same for Martel, and I'll bring you back to Rise of Kingdoms. You look here. I am a free to play, unfortunately, and I'm saving up my legendary commander sculptures for YSG, so I really can't do anything with Martel. I've been very fortunate to get some statues from Golden Keys. Now, Sun Tzu you should be investing your statues into. Martel, not so much. Unless you're pay to play, or you have a ton of statues for some ungodly reason, those statues should go in YSG. And he will be coming up soon. Of course, I can't show you YSG because he hasn't come out in this kingdom yet. But still, let's talk about why he's great on open field. He's one of the best, and probably the best right now. Counterattack damage. You pair him with Sun Tzu, you're fighting 5 people, you're getting that 5 times rage, plus you're doing this increased counterattack damage, and with his shield, you're not taking damage. So you hit hard. If multiple people try to gang up on you, you're hitting them even harder. You're blocking all of that damage, and you're just not dying. Yet again, health is a premium skill, and defense I don't think is as good as damage reduction, but don't quote me on that one. This is so many stats, that's so much survivability, there's no way to get through. You're going to win. And of course, this doesn't matter as much, and this Rise from the Ashes isn't actually that useful. Of course, it's good, right? But this is not going to be a game-changing thing to get. 5-5-1-5 is ideal. 5-5-1-1 is also very usable. You're getting pretty much 80% of his usability just from 5-5-1-1. This does not give much. So, with Charles Martel, very easy. I'm going to put him into GOAT tier. This is one of the best commanders you can get right now. Also, just so by the way, this is a Rise of Kingdoms Commander KvK1 tier list. I didn't make this, but I will put this in the description below. Richard. Well, same thing for Martel. Just a little bit worse. I don't have my Richard as high of a level because I didn't get him until recently for the last Wheel of Fortune event. You can get him after this with Card King, like all Wheel of Fortune characters, you can get them from Card King. So, Richard the First, he's great. This first ability is really good. Healing factor, damage reduction. This really just makes it so you survive longer. In an open field, that may be the decider. You're just staying alive, giving debuffs longer. So, this really helps. This will help as a supplementary to your YSG rallies or your allies' YSG rallies. Chivalry. I mean, this is just everything you want. Counterattack damage, taking less damage. You're surviving. Increase attack and increase defense. You are surviving and doing more. And even this, healing effect enhancement. Great. This is all just to survive, keep stats up. He's a great commander, and I think he's not nearly as good as these two, but he's very, very much in the S tier. YSG, I can't show you him on Rise of Kingdoms, but he's a GOAT. He does amazing skill damage, and you can search him up yourself, but he is amazing. The best, and you should be investing statues into YSG. Both of these are from the Wheel of Fortune, and you should never invest statues into Golden Key Commanders, or at least legendary Golden Key Commanders. These two are get from the Wheel of Fortune. It's much well spent on YSG. Honestly, YSG could be in a tier of itself, but I don't think that this is nearly an A. So that's why I'm not doing that. He is your best investment. Minamoto, S tier. I'm going to show you this. I don't have him unlocked because, yet again, free to play. But you just look at some of his abilities. You're going to be getting this. Deals direct damage, has a chance to deal more. And this is just an amazing, amazing commander. You're getting that march speed bonus, cavalry attack. This is not an important skill at all. And this is an amazing debuff to be giving. The 5515 is amazing. And, of course, this expertise isn't actually that useful. This is what really makes the money on it. Deals direct damage to the target, does a ton of direct damage to the target, and you have a chance to deal extra damage. He's great. He is a good counter to someone like Martel, because you're just doing straight damage to one person, especially if that skill hits in between his abilities, or his skills, you're doing well, right? He doesn't fully do it, but, yet again, this is a good commander. Same with Mehmed. Mehmed is also a cavalry commander, and he's going to be really good when it comes to KvK Season 3. He's not as good right now, and I'll admit, I haven't put anything into him, because I've been focusing on Gatherers, but he's great. I do not blame you for using Mehmed. This is a pretty good ability. It's a fan-shaped 5 targets. Damage dealt is reduced. It's kind of like Ethelfled, but a little bit worse. And that additional damage doesn't really matter here, but it's still a decent ability. 1150 on a fan is great, but of course Ethelfled is a better fan commander. You look at stuff like this, attack bonus, skill damage bonus. This is great. An additional damage when attacking cities doesn't matter here. And the troop capacity and rallied army capacity. This works really well when you are rallying people. When you're in KvK rallying anything, really. Because he's so strong with those conquering abilities. But he's also fine on the open field. He can definitely outplay some people with just having an AoE. This is just not something that commanders like Minamoto are afforded. And I'm going to put him in an S tier for that. Joan of Arc, I'm going to put her at A tier. And you may be asking, why is a Gatherer this high on the list? Joan of Arc has this. You use her, you get her ability off 30%, 30%, 30%. Especially for infantry, 30% health bonus is crazy, even just for 2 seconds. Because this has the support tree. I'm using her for gathering right now because her things won't come in. But she can get Rejuvenate, and if you're putting her with a commander with the support tree, like Boudica or skill tree, support tree, Boudica, and Lohar. Now, while I wouldn't suggest these commanders, these are just the examples I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Ethelfled is also great. You are doing great things. Ethelfled, with a Joan of Arc, is going to be popping her reduction abilities, and you're going to be getting all of those stats. And it's just not to you. It's to your entire group. You sneak a Joan of Arc, pop her ability once next to your rally, and for 2 seconds, you are 30% better. Just in general, you're just 30% better. Now, of course, this is also a decent one, but you can just get away with 5-1-1-1 on this. Of course, unless you're going for gathering, of course. So I think she deserves a mighty spot at the A tier. She does great. I'm going to kind of sweep through some of these ones here. These are not going to be nearly as long. I'm not a big fan of Eulogy Mundialk. The defense reduction is nice. It's decent damage. When you're garrisoning your troops, this doesn't matter. Yet again, he's a garrison commander. This infantry attack and defense is just so much worse than Sun Tzu, so much worse than Martel. Attack is the worst stat you want increased. You want health. So this, while it's good, don't get me wrong, it just could be better. And when attacked, he has a chance to increase his own troops' damage by 20% on the next turn. Okay, so you have a 10% chance to do 20% more damage, up to 100%. So you're doing 10% more damage on average. That's not a great ability. And it's very inconsistent. And this doesn't make it all that much better. This makes him on par with Sun Tzu, if Sun Tzu wasn't expertise. He's just not that good. He's getting a solid B tier because he's not useless. Okay. Also, you definitely should not be investing in it. You can invest in Sun Tzu, Joan of Arc, and I'll even go back. Anything above A tier is not a bad investment unless it's a gold key commander, Mehmed and Charles Martel. And also Minamoto, because you get so many statues anyway. This is your real investment here. Next, we're going to... This is... And I have him a little bit leveled, but not by much. This is Baibars. Baibars does have a special utility, and that comes from... As you can tell, I don't use him as much as I probably should. He does have an AoE. It's fine. He does have that attack. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking Belisarius. No, this guy just doesn't have much. Attack reduction and defense reduction. This is only for cities. Yet again, I talked about this in Golden Kingdom. You should be benefiting your own stats instead of removing your enemy stats. Because your stats preferably would be higher, right? So you want to leverage advantage instead of taking away. This guy's not bad for a secondary march that's not going to be doing as much. But nonetheless, this march speed bonus helps. But he's just not that great. He can work well as a gatherer killer, but he's not for the open field. There's nothing about him that screams, I need to be on the open field. He's going in C. Bjorn Ironside, he is another one of those city attack commanders. And, wait, no, not Bjorn's Ironside. Who am I talking about? No, it's Bjorn Ironside. My bad. He's a conquering commander. This is fine. This attack, yet again, just for cities. Attack and defense, yet again. This is just what Eulogy has, but as you can kind of see here, infantry attack, infantry defense. It's just a reskin. Still, same thing applies. And you look at this, it's just not that good. He doesn't really have a place here, because open field at least, he doesn't do much. Rallying, there's much better options. I'm going to put him straight with Baibars. Boudica, I like Boudica, but I'll admit, she's for gathering. She's for fort killing. This ability doesn't help at all. This ability doesn't really help that much. The Rage Restored is nice, but there's better options for talents, and you can have a better skill. Your bonus damage, it's just, this is too gimmicky. This is way too gimmicky, because if you look at it purely in stat, you have a 3% increase, then you're going to have a 3% increase, and then you're going to be having a, what is that, 2.5? Maybe 5, so in total, at max, it's an 11% increase on average. Just not that good, and I don't suggest it. She's amazing for killing forts, but I don't think she's for the open field. I'm going to have to shove her, even though I love this commander much, in C tier. KvK, in the very same vein, he actually does have a purpose, so he's not getting the C tier treatment. This is not a bad ability at all. It does make it so it's harder for them to run. He has this amazing attack bonus and cavalry march speed bonus. He has a healing factor and rage restored, but not much of this. And also, this is not a this is a pretty great, what do you call it? Expertise. Now, of course, defense is better than attack, but that's 15% increased attack. You'll live, right? He's just not for the open field. He will kill Gatherers really quickly because he's the fastest commander in the game. Because you look at his trees, you have Esquarian Excellence, you have Thoroughbreds, and you also have Hasty Departure, with all of this other stuff as well. He's going really fast, he can kill command or Gatherers really quickly, but besides that, I don't think there's any reason to put him above B tier, because he's definitely not with Joan of Arc. He's niche, he has his use. El Cid, if I find you using El Cid ever, you're just not part of any type of clan of mine. El Cid, I haven't even got him yet, he's just not that good. 10% chance to deal extra damage. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Archer defense, archer march speed, bonus. Okay, march speed for archers isn't as good. Archer defense, it's better, but you want to have something like health. Damage bonus and march speed bonus. This is still fine, but 50% or less of their units. This is one of those things where you're already at a losing state, probably. And this direct damage factor. If you want to disable active skills and normal attacks for 1 second, use someone like Herman. Herman is just this guy, but much better. Because if I'm not mistaken, he has an ability that... silencing. Yes. Renders target troops unable to use their active skills. Normal damage doesn't matter that much. This guy's just better for what you're doing there. He will get higher than El Cid. I do not like El Cid. El Cid can go at the C tier. Frederick? He has abuse. It's just not a good one. There's no reason to be using Frederick. He's also one I'm barely not unlocked yet. His healing factor is okay. This passive skill is only for cities. This is troop capacity and a chance to deal extra damage. Your main skills you want is high skill damage. This is just not great. You're doing normal attack. Why would you do that? You shouldn't do this. So he's going to be put really at C tier. Fled is a amazing case because Fled is great. She's S tier. She goes in for a lot of the same reasons Sun Tzu does, but mainly for the fan. She's currently my highest legendary, or actually Martell is, but she's my second highest legendary commander and my second highest offensive commander. Why? This is great. There's no reduction for hitting multiple targets. You hit 5, it's a decent damage factor, and you are doing an amazing ability. For 2 seconds, you make the enemy 30% worse. This is won me battles just from that, because it's such an insane thing, and you hit all enemies with it. And the fact is, she can also get Rejuvenate. So she's not a complete lost cause when it comes to actually popping all her skills. So you also have stuff like this, counterattack damage, which is still great. Cavalry march speed, so you can catch up. That's a better march speed reduction than most. And then again, you're also getting it for other units' march speed as well. As well with Age of Thorns, you're getting some more reduction, and that's where her expertise is. You do increase damage to those who are affected by slowdown, and you're giving slowdown here, you can give slowdown here. You have so many ways to do that. Damn, this doesn't matter as much, and this is decent when you're rallying, but Fled is a solid choice. She's still solid in the late game. She is a pretty much staple until like KvK 5. So if you're not using Fled in this KvK, you're really missing out. I've already talked about why Herman is better, but we'll go over it just a little bit. He's just Frederick, but better, because you don't have to invest as much into him, and he's going to be doing what you want. Removing that skill, doing direct damage. I don't see any reason not to use him. This attack and march speed, very similar, not that great. Garrison, increased normal attacks and the chance to trigger, whatever. Expertise, it's decent, but it could be better. This guy, he's gonna help you, he's gonna work out for you, but there's better options. That's why he is solidly in B tier. Julius Caesar, yet again, another commander you shouldn't be using. You look at his ability, attack and defense, and damage bonus, you want skill damage. And this just doesn't give that. Now, of course, these are great, great, great abilities. And it lasts for quite a while. But, yet again, damage taken reduced by 60%, and they gain a 10% chance to trigger the effect. Whenever activated, they have an additional chance. This is just so much situational nonsense that you shouldn't be dealing with. And you want those abilities at the beginning, because in Rise of Kingdoms, your damage happens exponentially, right? You have 1,000 more troops than the other person, you're going to win by 10,000, right? This game is exponential, so having something only trigger at 60% chance, or under 60% with a 10% chance, and then a 10% extra, that's just dumb, right? City Killer, yet again, not that useful, but it does work if you're rallying cities, I guess. He's just not that good. He is good for conquering, and I think he falls in the same category as Sid and Frederick, just at this weird tier where there's nothing really happening. Kiara is very situational. She's for barbarians, don't use her. This guy, he's actually not that bad. I can never say his name, but he is Kusunoki Masaji, and I probably butchered it. But it's another fan. Immediately removes all of these effects, other debuffs, and there's an additional damage factor. It's not great, but he hits 3 targets. Good on him. Garrison counterattack damage could be better here. Archer attack and archer defense could be better yet again. Additional damage factor. All of this is just stuff that's really yucky, but he does have this fan which brings him to a tier which I think's better, but I really can't do much except give him the top of C tier or the bottom of B tier. Now, you may be thinking that some of these, like Herman is going to be worse than Frederick when you max them out, but I want you to think about how little you have to put into Herman versus how much you have to put into Frederick to get the same usage out of it. This costs more tomes, this costs more, less tomes, less valuable statues that you could be using for other stuff, and you're going to be getting him at a higher level just naturally through golden keys. So, I mean, feel free to argue that this guy's going to be better in the long run. If you're pay to play, go ahead. But even if you're pay to play, upgrade Martel, upgrade Richard, do Mehmed. Don't bother with this. This is what you should do if you really have nothing else to work with, right? Lohar. I love Lohar. He has a dear place in my heart because he is currently my highest level commander. I do a lot of barbarian killing. I racked up over 1,000 points for the spring event, and he was one of the main reasons. Now, experience, damage against barbarians, leaving battles, healing, he's not great for this. I'll just be very bland with this. He's C tier, and he's probably very low C tier with Kiara. Mulan is actually not that bad when it comes to Season 3 of KvK. I'm not personally using her that much, but attack, defense, and health bonus, that's what you want to be seeing. March speed bonus, you can even get away. This is great. Damage reduction's better. Damage rage reduction, I don't think is as good, but go ahead. You know, there's a 20% chance for that, which, sure, go ahead. Damage while surrounded is also great, because being surrounded, you're just going to happen a lot on the open field. Conslayer, both commanders and troops gain experience. Doesn't matter as much. That's a more disappointing one out of it. Attack bonus and damage taken increased by. This is just great. This really works on Canyon, and Canyon and open field are not the same. Trust me, I get that. But they have very similar commander choices, so I would suggest someone like Mulan. I'm actually going to put her in A tier. She's great for Canyon with Richard. And Richard has more usability here, I think. So, she's going in a solid A tier. I don't know why she's so big, though. That picture is massive. Well, I think this guy's name is Osman. I don't use this guy at all. Osman the First. I actually don't think he's that bad. Straight up, he does a pretty good amount of damage for an epic. Attacking a city, not really. After using active skill, deal increased damage. Sure. This is not the best yet again. And Sultan's Glory troops led by this have increased capacity. The guy's fine. He's just nothing special. He gets lumped up with the whole C crew. And honestly, I'll do this since there's so many in C. I'll knock Frederick. I don't feel good knocking Frederick up there. Honestly, no, all of these are C. I was gonna rearrange a little bit, but no, they are C. Pelgius. Pelagius? Pelagius, I think is how you say it. This is actually not that bad. Rage Restored is much better than Rage Reduction, in my opinion. Direct damage factor, great. Additional damage factor, fine. Sure. Then you have Cavalry Attack, Cavalry Defense. Yet again, I have my qualms, but whatever. A Garrison, and a Healing factor. And it's not just a leaving battle healing factor either. That's pretty decent. And this right here does the same thing as a lot of them. He's not bad. I'm actually going to put him in a solid B because he has nothing wrong with him, right? And his active skill is actually quite good. So he gets a solid B, and I think that's where he does. Now we're looking at the guy I always forget the name of, Ragnar Lodbrok. He's not good. Let me just be straight. Damage bonus, damage taken reduced. You want skill damage. Skills are going to be so much more useful in the late game. Powerful skills instead of these whimsy stats. Attack bonus and healing effect reduction. This is just sad. Attack is the worst, and healing effect reduction, you're really hoping that the opponent has healing. Now, some of them and a lot of them do, but you're really taking a big gamble here. If they have someone like YSG Ethelfled, what are you going to do then? Norwin's Call, troops led by this commander deal 2% increased damage when attacking cities. It's a city, he's a conqueror, he has to have something like that. Troop capacity, this guy's not great, as you can see, and he's going to be lumped with the Julius Caesar and Frederick again. Now we get to one that's actually kind of interesting. He has a place, he has usability. Hello, Scipio Africanus. Big Skippy, right? Damage taken reduced and counterattack damage bonus. Works very well for open field to keep alive. Attack bonus, not great, but a healing factor is also good. So, but this is still a 40% chance, so he's getting reduced for that. Increase all damage against cities and troop capacity. I think this guy's actually pretty decent, just because this counterattack damage and damage taken reduced by. And it's also for 5 seconds, which is great. He's not going to be getting anything more than top of B tier. This is my personal belief on this chart. You can have it very much different. If I didn't have this tier for guys I did not know, and I'm pretty sure Hannibal Barca is actually really good, but if I didn't have this tier, a lot of these C tiers would be put in there. And honestly, I have no reason to not put them there. These are some of the best commanders. These are some of the best investments. Your legendary statues go into YSG, epics go into Sun Tzu and Joan of Arc. Once you finish YSG, you can go to Richard now if you're pay to play, or you keep waiting. And even if you're pay to play, you should wait for Alexander, right? But a lot of these are just great. Mehmed and Minamoto are going to be really good cavalry commanders late game. Mulan and Richard are going to be great. Canyon, pretty much any time, especially late game. Great support. She's going to be outclassed by, for example, Joan of Arc Prime. But all these really great, essentially like an open field. I don't think any of these guys have much utility besides some of them have some conquering abilities, which I think is decent. But honestly, if you're using any of these for battle, any of these for open field, any of these for KvK, there is definitely something that's going wrong. Because you have better options, unless you are really pay to play, and you have so many statues that you're overflowing. Mehmed, Richard, YSG, Martel, and Mulan are all maxed, and you want to get Cow in there. Be my guess. In case, this could be the end of the video for now. It's been about 30 minutes, and God, I need a glass of water.